Yeah, hello. Welcome to OBIEE training sessions. So now we are going to discuss Oracle Business Intelligence. So very starting of my class, let me fire a small question to you all. What is OBIEE? Why you are here to learn OBIEE course? So don't say it's an Oracle Business Intelligence. The word says two words integrated together called as an Oracle Business Intelligence. Okay, if you're seeing my presentation, clearly I have mentioned that Oracle Business Intelligence is equal to Oracle plus Business Intelligence. So nothing but Business Intelligence is a separate technology that integrates with an Oracle together called as an OBIEE. Okay, so first of all we'll discuss with the Business Intelligence. What is the Business Intelligence? What are the tools of BI in the market? Then later on we'll integrate Business Intelligence with Oracle. Okay, so like, do you have any idea about Business Intelligence? So let me discuss with the Business Intelligence. First of all, why we need Business Intelligence? What's the technology behind the Business Intelligence? So nowadays in the market, the BI tools are rapidly increasing for all the companies. It's very essential. So this Business Intelligence is a technology used to provide business information to the higher officials. Higher officials, nothing but irrespective of any category. Irrespective of any category, nothing but a lead to an CEO of the company, a team lead to a CEO of the company. So this will provide business information to the higher officials irrespective of any category with a better format. The better format, in a better time, and in better understanding. So these three words, better understanding, better time, and in a better format, these three words are very important for the business intelligence technology. Now, so you got something about the definition of business intelligence technology. If you say in a regular words, this is nothing but the data warehousing terminology definition. If you see in the regular words, this business intelligence, nothing but it's used to provide business information, or it's nothing but how intelligently you are managing your business is called an business intelligence. Then, how intelligently you are managing your business or our business in regular words. Okay, so now we'll see the BI tools in the market. We have number of tools in the BI technology. You can ask a question. What is we have mentioned Oracle plus business intelligence. First, let me complete this BI tools part. Later on, we'll integrate Oracle with one of the BI tool, so that our OBIEE will comes the picture. Okay. So we have a number of tools in the BI market. Some of the tools which I have mentioned in the presentation: SES, SAP, some ERP and Siebel CRM. So I have divided these tools into three categories. Among these three categories, OBIEE is one of the tool. Okay, so in these three categories, I have mentioned OLTP, ETL, and OLAP. So obviously, our OBIEE will comes under OLAP. Then here comes into picture why business intelligence integrated with Oracle together called as OBIEE. If you see these three categories, OLTP, ETL, OLAP. So obviously OBIEE is nothing but a reporting tool and this OBIEE tool comes from the Oracle Corporation. So obviously nowadays overall world software, 50% of market covered with the Oracle products. So obviously any company, they will see, first of all they will see the cost effective and the performance wise. So obviously all the products or all the clients, they'll use most of the Oracle products. So when you coming to the Oracle data warehouse, where is the source to the OBIEE? So obviously OBIEE is a reporting tool, source is the Oracle data warehouse. So the performance will be very high. And even if you're asking for a license for an Oracle data warehouse, so they will you with a less price coming to the OBIEE part. So obviously it comes with the cost effective. Okay. There comes into picture OBIEE. Why we need OBIEE? Why we prefer only OBIEE? Why not Cognos or some SAP products? SAP products nothing but it's very cost effective. So leave the SAP. And Cognos, as I've told you the definition business intelligence, there I have told you the 3 words, business, like 3 words, nothing but better format, better understanding in a better time. So these 3 words will be satisfied by only OBIEE, not the Cognos. You will understand after completion of entire OBIEE class, you will understand why these 3 words satisfied by only OBIEE, why not Cognos or why not business objects. Okay then, first of all let me discuss what is OLTP, what is ETL, what is OLAP, and why all the tools in the market divide into these 3 categories. So now, do you have any idea about, first of all, OLTP, ETL, OLAP and data warehouse? Because before going to this, you need to understand what is this, what is OLTP, what is ETL and what is OLAP. So simply, if nothing but OLTP, nothing but online transactional processing, the full form of OLTP, and ETL nothing but extraction, transformation and loading, whereas OLAP, online analytical processing or programming, you can say. Now with these 3 words, just I have told you the abbreviation for OLTP or ETL or OLAP. Now we'll see in depth why we need these 3 in the market. And with this example, you need to understand, you will be having a clear picture that what is the use of OLTP, what is the use of ETL and OLAP. So for these 3 categories, somewhere data warehouse is essential. Data warehouse is needed. Without data warehouse, these 3 are nothing. Okay, but I didn't mention data warehouse here. If you see my presentation, I have mentioned only these 3 because you can say these 3 are the child of business intelligence technology. Okay, now if you see what is OLTP, what is ETL, what is OLAP and a data warehouse, how these 3 are related to a data warehouse. Then let me consider a small example relating these 4 into a picture. Okay, now just I'm taking an example of a regular sector in our day-to-day life. Nothing but I took a bank example that just kept a name as XYZ Bank. If you're considering this example, so like let me fire a small questions to you from this example. Tell me any sources to the bank. Sources nothing but data sources. How data will be recorded into a bank? I mean, I'm asking that source. So just I took an example of first an ATM. Anyhow, this is a regular example. All the guys know what does ATM will do. So nothing but anytime money. Anytime money is a regular word, guys. We do have some other specific word for an ATM. Just think about that. After completion of this example, I'll tell you the full form of ATM, not anytime teller machine or anytime money. In terms of data warehousing terminology wise, you have a specific definition for this. Let me consider ATM is one of the source to a bank. So like, first of all, let me consider I am holding an HDFC debit card. If I want to withdraw the money, obviously I have to go to the ATM. I will insert the card, then I'll get the money. If it is an HDFC to HDFC customer, it's good. I am holding an HDFC account, but I'm going to an ICICI ATM and I'm inserting my card into ICICI, then also I'll get the money. But in the back-end wise, in the back-end perspective, if you see, in the transactions, the ATM will record sales data, revenue data, and expenditure data of two banks. Two banks in the sense, I'm an HDFC account holder, but the ATM is an ICICI. So that's the reason this ATM machine will store three types of data: sales, revenue, and expenditure. Sales, nothing but for ICICI bank, it's a sales because I'm getting a money from an ICICI. So ICICI is doing some sort of sales on an HDFC. Nothing but sales data. Revenue. So do you think that any revenue data will be storing in this machine with my transaction? Yes, absolutely it will store. Because being an HDFC customer, I am drawing a money from an ICICI ATM. So surely that in the back end, HDFC has to pay some amount, some service charge for an ICICI for each transaction. Even you can find out in the outside, after 5 transactions, they will charge 20 rupees for each transaction. Nothing but they are getting some profit, some revenue from our transactions. So nothing but this is all. This will record under revenue transaction. Revenue to a ICICI bank and expenditure to a HDFC bank. Am I right, guys? So now am I making sense, right? So now you will accept that this ATM machine will have 3 types of data: sales, revenue, and expenditure. Okay. So for each and every transaction, these 3 data will store into an ATM machine. Okay, then this is one type of source to a bank, and how data will record, we'll see. How data will record from ATM machine to a bank. Well, this is one source. Next, I'm considering CRM, Customer Relationship Management. So for this example, do you have any idea about what is CRM? Why we need CRM? So for any organization, CRM plays an important role. For a bank, CRM nothing but the net banking. Without going to an ATM or without going to a bank, you can transfer your funds to a third party or any other account within the bank or outside of the bank. So that's a main, like, how customer is maintaining his relationship with the management of the bank without going to a bank or without going to an ATM. Just in front of the internet, he can do all the banking activities. So in this also, in this source, in the CRM perspective, we do have the same data: sales, revenue, and expenditure. If you are doing some funds transfer to within the bank, it's no problem. If you are transferring funds to HDFC to an ICICI, so obviously again ICICI is getting some sort of revenue from the HDFC. So from HDFC perspective, expenditure data is there from HDFC. So nothing but this is also one type of source which contains 3 types of data. Okay, so this is one type of source. Third Third example, ERP, full form of ERP. Anybody? Enterprise Resource Planning. Okay, so for every bank, we do have some sort of stock exchange or Nifty on insurances and all. So nothing but even in the insurances, if you are selling some insurance, nothing but that you are getting some sort of sales by selling an insurance to a particular candidate. Nothing but that will record as a sales data. With the selling of an insurance, you will get some sort of revenue to the bank and some sort of expenditure even. Okay, so this will have also three types of data which act as a source to a bank. The fourth one, flat files. So like if you see nowadays, almost all the guys or girls having the ATMs or internet banking and all. But those who are unprofessionals, they don't have an ATM or net banking passwords or something. So obviously they have to go to the bank and they have to do the transactions with the help of some demand draft or some withdrawal form or deposit form. But all will record under flat files. So flat files nothing but first of all, they will save that information in terms of Excel or in some WordPad or a Notepad. Then they will dump that data into a target. Nothing but those are called as flat files. Now I am integrating these four sources into one presentation. Example, XYZ Bank. I have placed the four sources: ATM, ERP, CRM, flat files. Now you can now you have some definition of each and every source. Nothing but these are sources to a bank. Okay. Now, for example, the CEO of this bank, head of the bank, he wants to analyze his business. See guys, for us this is a bank, it is a bank, but for an higher official's perspective, this is a business. So he wants to analyze his banking business. So obviously, just consider that here in this example, I'm placing only four sources, but in a real time, if you take some ICICI have 21 sources. Will you imagine the 21 sources? We have only four sources here. I took example of only four sources, but in ICICI we have 21 sources. And if you take some HSBC, it's an MNC. For an HSBC, we have 42 sources. So imagine how the business was big. So it's impossible to analyze the business. So in that perspective, it's impossible, and even it's a time taking. It's a cost effective, and he can't understand the business better. So obviously for that he has to recruit some employees. He has to recruit some employees to understand the business and all. So without that, what the software engineers done, they want to dump the data from different sources into one system. There comes into picture ETL. Now I think you understand what these four sources are. So if you see these four sources, nothing but the operational data. This is all nothing but the operational data into our day-to-day life. ATM, nothing but the day-to-day transactions will record, even the ERP, insurances and all, stock exchange, even the net banking and the flat files. So these are nothing but the operational data. So you have strike some word, OLTP, online transactional processing. Nothing but it will store an operational data which will record day-to-day life. Now, so to understand this business, what they have done, they want to dump this operational data into a system with the help of ETL, extraction, transformation and loading. So what this ETL will do, guys? So anyhow, the word says extraction. So this ETL will extract the data from different sources. Please consider here I'm considering only 4 sources. Don't think this example. Think some HSBC or ICICI. So this ETL will extract the data from 44 sources or 21 sources because an ICICI or HSBC. Okay, so this ETL will extract the data from different sources and it will load into this machine, guys. It will load into this machine. Okay, extraction, and it will load into this machine. Then what is meant by transformation? So nothing, guys. Transformation nothing but applying filters, filter conditions, or applying business logics. Depending upon the business logics, it will load the data into that machine. So it first of all it will extract, then it will apply business logics, then it will load into this machine. Nothing but a database. Don't ask a question what is a database. Nothing but it will store a data in terms of tables. Okay, so now it will store the data into this data warehouse. I mean this database. Only database. Please, I didn't mention any name for this database. It's a regular word database. Now you can ask a question, on what basis, on what scenario this ETL will load the data into this database. On what basis? Now, so anyhow, like on this database contains entire the data. So the CEO of the company can analyze his business from this database. But in this database also, we have some specific data relations. So while ETL is loading the data into this machine, I mean this database, when you are buying this software from an Oracle corporation, by default you will get some of the tables like HR table, revenue table, expenditure table, payroll table, some sort of sales tables like that. So depending upon that table names, depending upon your project perspective, you have to mention that table names into ETL loading part. So in loading nothing but you have to give the targets, then only it will load the data. So in that, so you have these 4 sources in OLTP, these 4 sources, this entire operation, in this entire operational data, we do have sales, revenue, expenditure, like that data. So if while mentioning your target in an ETL, so depending upon the target, it will pick the sales data from all the sources. Then it will pick the sales data, then it will load into the machine. I mean the sales table. So by default you have the sales table. So by default you have the revenue, expenditure table. So depending upon the targets, it will load into the data. It will load the data into this machine. So now the CEO of the company, he can analyze, just select star from the sales. Nothing but he can find the entire sales from all the sources. Am I right, guys? Am I making sense? Entire sales from all the sources. Then select star from the revenue. Revenue from all the sources, 44 sources or 22 sources, or these 4 sources. So now analysis is very easy to the CEO of this company, right? Now this database, you can ask a question to me. So from my starting of my presentation, for OLTP, now you got 3 words, guys: OLTP, ETL, and analysis. Nothing but OLAP. Online analytical processing is nothing but analysis. So you have 3 words here. So now you got the 3 words. Now, without a data warehouse, we don't have these 3 words. I've clearly mentioned. But in this presentation, I'm telling us database. Why database has converted to data warehouse? the next scenario, why database is converted to data warehouse. So this database have some specific features or extra features which intends to mold this database as a data warehouse, guys. Now if you see the presentation, system with huge database. So every database having some sort of size, but this database having some huge size. Can you expect what's the size of this database? GB? No, it's terabytes. It's terabytes. Almost a project consists of 2000 to 2500 terabytes. So minimum it will store 5 years of data, guys. That's the reason I have mentioned system with huge database. First property, system with huge database, which contains integrated data, guys. Integrated data. Nothing but, will you accept this word, integrated data? Data from different sources integrating into one place. Integrated at one place. Nothing but this system holding a data of integrated. That's the reason I have mentioned integrated data. Okay, and one more. So while ETL is loading the data, I've clearly mentioned this database by default it consists of some sort of tables, pre-built tables. So depending upon that tables, it will load the data. So nothing but pre-built tables, sales, revenue, HR. Nothing but these are department oriented. Am I right, guys? Am I making sense? Department oriented. Sales is a department. Revenue is a department. HR is a department. Department oriented, nothing but this is a regular word. If you are coming to a data warehousing terminology wise, we have to say subject oriented. Meaning is the same, guys. Subject oriented, department oriented. So if you see system with huge database which contains integrated data and subject oriented. Now you got the difference of subject oriented also. Then the next word is non-volatile. Non-volatile, nothing but, no, first of all, what is meant by volatile? Volatile, nothing but changing, unstable. Whereas non-volatile, it's a stable. If you see, this database is a non-volatile database. Means it is a stable one. You cannot change any data in this database. You cannot update any data. You cannot update any data in this database. Why? What is the reason behind that? Can we update data into OLTP system? Yes, we can update. Any example, guys? If you are inserting your ATM into an ATM machine, you can change your password, right? You can change your password. Nothing but you are doing some sort of update in the operational data. Even if you go with the CRM, net banking, you can add a payee and you can do a funds transfer and you can delete the payee. Nothing but you are doing some sort of edit. You are doing some sort of updates on the system, right? So, but this system, this database cannot update it. First of all, it won't accept any update commands, guys. Why? What's the reason behind that? Have you heard audit? Auditing, not a chartered account auditing, not a CA audit. This is an audit. It's separate in the software. So software, the name of the software is called audit. This is in Microsoft software. This software will be installed on this database so that if you are trying to run an update command, or if you are trying to run and select or update, or even if you are opening this database, this audit software will record your user ID, your time, your session ID, and even your with IP. So IP is nothing but the unique. So easily they can trace you. First of all, it won't accept any update. Even though if you're trying to run, the system will detect you. System will trace you. So that's the reason I have mentioned it's a non-volatile. It's a stable database. The last word, time variant. Guys, now you got the definition of non-volatile. Why I have mentioned non-volatile? Why? That much stable application. The last word, time variant, guys. Time variant, nothing but, will you accept this word? Time variant, time consume. If you are analyzing the business from different sources, nothing but it will take some time. It will take some time. But here, the analysis is very easy. Analysis part is made easy that you can do analysis on this system because this system contains entire integrated data. So obviously time consumption is very less when compared to the analysis on different sources. Right, guys? So time variant, nothing but time consumption. Now, if you see the definition, or if you see why the database converted into data warehouse, I have told you any database having some specific features, nothing but these features. Any database having these features, we can call that database as a data warehouse. System with huge database which contains integrated data, subject-oriented, non-volatile, and invariant is called as a data warehouse, guys. Data warehouse. If you see my definition, a huge database which contains or which satisfies these 4 words is called a data warehouse. So this definition or these properties is designed by Bill Inman, a scientist, in 1970. So now you know the definition of data warehouse, how data warehouse related to OLTP, ETL, and OLAP. Out of this, now you got some idea. Not full-fledged, but you have some idea. Okay. Now in the future, in actual classes, we are going to discuss some of the data warehousing concepts over here, OLTP, OLAP, difference between that, and approaches, dimensional data modeling, slowly changing dimensions, and the facts and the fact tables. Out of these topics, we have some of the important topics for the interview perspective. I'll tell you when the actual class starts. Then, now we are going to see the OBIEE course content. OBIEE course content. Just hold on. So in the future, we are going to discuss OBIEE course content. The version is 11.1.1.5 version. Actually, we do have 3 versions in the 11G, 11.1.1.3, .5, and .6. You can ask the question why we are not going to discuss .6 version, because see, any company, they will release the version, but they won't give license for that version because they will do some sort of enhancements on that version, then they can release the next version. For example, .6 they have released, but they are doing some sort of enhancements on that, then they will release the .8 version, upcoming version is .8, then they'll give license for the .6. I think you got it. Just they will release the version, but they won't give the license for that version. They'll give the license for the previous version. So now all the companies, they are using the .5 version. Okay. Now we are going to discuss the topics which I have mentioned here, all the topics. Just go through all the topics. This is a 1-month course. My class is entirely concept oriented class. I won't deal with the book classes or some different classes. It's a concept-oriented class. If you see, even if you see my example, it's a concept-oriented example. Even that's a real-time example. Do you expect which banks holds this architecture? Which banks holds this architecture, guys? Nothing but this is a live example of one bank. Guess it. We'll discuss that example. So these are some of the topics which we are going to discuss in the future. And coming to the market wise, we have a lot of openings for the OBIEE. Microsoft, Cognizant, TCS, Infosys, even the Oracle. Coming to the Mumbai positions, we have a lot of positions for the Mumbai perspective. Mahindra Satyam, even. It's nothing, it's a 1 month course. So any doubts, you can interrupt my class. So if any doubts, just mail me. Thanks guys.